Hi, we're Parekh and Singh, and we're on Made in India. The first song we're going to do is called The Nightingale.
King, losing my grip on proceedings. You came to win. Following all of your feelings. Destiny unveiled and unmade. The nightingale upon my shoulder blade. Again and again, again. Taking it all in. Careless and often misleading. Learning to swim. Deep in the pools of Darjeeling. Destiny unveiled and unmade. The nightingale upon my shoulder blade. Again and again, again.
Hey, so welcome, Nischay Parekh, Jivraj Singh, to Made in India at long last, by the way. It's been a while.
It has. Thank you for having us. We're very happy to be here.
I'm glad to. And so, as you probably may or may not know, a lot of digging goes into the research that is made in India. And I've literally got 3 pages of a thesis on Parekh Singh. And I actually want to start from the beginning.
Okay.
Which is, Nischay, I know that your mom lived in the U.S. in the 70s around that time, and you've sort of mentioned in interviews that the music that she sort of brought into your life, especially during your childhood, she would just play the cassette player all day.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of music was part of your childhood?
A lot of the pop music of her growing up years, plus what was kind of current in CD stores in Calcutta at the time.
Yeah.
I remember there was a Jerry Halliwell CD, which she played for 3 years on
That's
loop.
amazing.
Yeah. I didn't even know she was in the Spice Girls till much later. I just thought she was a big star on her own.
Just on her own.
Yeah.
Jerry
Yeah.
Halliwell. Who would have thought that was one of those really deep cut, I wouldn't have realized.
Yeah, I think she might have been the only person that bought that CD in Calcutta. Yeah.
I think all of us kind of go through a little bit of that. Even with my mom, it was like the Mamas and Papas, and it was Boys to Men. So it was like an equal measure of like the 60s and 70s as well as the early 90s.
Yeah.
And Jiver, you are from a very like legendary musical family. Your mom and dad, Pink Noise and Skinny Alley. So do you feel like just music was just literally in your DNA?
Yeah, pretty much. I was in my mom's womb during a show that she did. I think she was 4 months pregnant.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And you were probably bopping and like up and down to the beats and the everything. My God. So those vibrations were like just a part of you then, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. And so do you feel like that? I mean, because you didn't actually want to pursue music as a career when you started out. You wanted to do documentary?
Yeah.
Filming?
Film, video, graphic design.
And so then where did that sort of change happen? Like when did you go, with music, I'll do that only?
I guess it's just the hormonal pleasure that you get from playing music, which I didn't know existed. I was always just observing and listening, and that's one thing. But to play is quite a special thing.
No, absolutely. And you played with your family. You were performing with Pink Noise with your mom and dad. Did that feel really... I mean, did you feel like you were... It was just like meant to be that this was always going to be a part of you?
Yeah, and it was convenient as well, I have to say that. And sometimes it was complex to be playing music professionally with the family.
In what way?
Well, honestly, it's not always cool to be hanging with family in the professional domain.
I get that.
But it's also very cool. It was very cool.
Yeah.
So that's why it was complex.
No, fair enough. I think to allow yourself to have some kind of separation. So like, oh, how are my parents again? Like, why is this happening to me? So I'm also like interested in the fact that like, do you feel like that relationship with, with both of you, like growing up and having music being a really big part of your childhood and your growing up years, do you feel that sort of influences the music that you make as well?
Yeah, I think we're both familial chaps overall. We like to gang up with our friends and family as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even between us, the lines kind of blurred somewhere because we spent so much time together, and we still live on the same street in Calcutta, so it's literally like walking distance.
That's way too convenient.
Yeah, it is. And even, I was kind of like the adopted son in Jivraj's house for many years because I would eat all my lunches and my meals there for quite a number of months and years, I think.
Yeah.
And it certainly informs the kind of music that we write and the way in which we work.
Yeah. So then how did you meet?
Actually, the full story is I was recording some demos for the first time at this studio in Calcutta with some friends of mine. We had a band called Circus Symphony. Yeah.
I know.
And the owner of that studio was a guy called Arif. So between our like demo recordings, I would be just noodling on an acoustic guitar in his office, which was a little outside the studio. And he said, hey, maybe you should try playing with some professional musicians, because obviously you guys are far from that. and I was like, okay. He said, I know this keyboard player and I know this drummer, Jivraj. And it was his birthday party. And he said, I'm going to invite them. So why don't you play a few of your acoustic songs, just you, and present them to, the party and as well as this keyboard player and Jivraj, the professionals. And that's kind of how we met. So I think the first time that I saw Jivraj, I was playing one of my songs, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember what song that was?
Might have been Me and You.
Oh.
Could have been that. Yeah, it's an old song.
Cross-legged on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then, Jiver, what did you think of like Nischay when you first met?
I remember his eye contact in particular. It was
really
intense.
Oh.
Threatening.
And then you're like, this is intense. I like it. Is that pretty much what happened? Oh my gosh. So then so if you guys had met at this time, where was that moment where you guys actually started sort of jamming with each other? And did that
Jamming began pretty much right away.
Oh.
And it was very exploratory. And then I think after Nischay returned from a little time at Berkeley is when we decided to,
actually
I don't know, we didn't really decide, but we automatically felt more serious about making music together.
Yeah.
With more of a shared direction and purpose.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know that like you were in Berkeley, but then there was a point in time where you're like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
What happened?
So it was 3 semesters which I had done at Berkeley, and I was beginning to enjoy it actually. But I also was really enjoying writing my own music, and I was enamored by the idea of trying to play that music live. And I felt that India might be the easiest and the safest situation to do that in at that point. And a lot of my friends actually were taking time off at that stage, so it was kind of trendy. So,
well, let's take a break now.
Yeah.
Me too.
yeah. And that first concert that we did when I got back from Berkeley was a NH7 Weekender at Bangalore in 2012. Oh. And that's actually the first time that I asked Jivraj to play with me, and that's when we played as a duo. And the only reason it worked out is because he was already going to go to be playing in Bangalore with with Pink Noise. Yeah.
Ah, I saw that.
Saved on
I was there. And
TLB.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So my thing is that like before Parekh and Singh happened, did you have like another name for the band? Was it like Zap or something?
No, for a long time it was Nischay Parekh and Jivraj Singh.
Just your whole name.
Yeah. Then it became Nischay Parekh and Jivraj Singh and George Matthew Dylan Warner Hartley, who was in 2013 we played with a friend of mine also from Berkeley, who is a keyboard player. He was with us for like 4 months where we played all 4 editions of The Weekender in 2013.
Yeah.
And it was basically all 3 of our names built. It was just Dylan Warner Hartley for him, but his full name is George Matthew Dylan Warner Hartley.
That is very long name, Saras.
It is. And then at some stage, I think in 2014, maybe, or 15, we got bored of using our
full name.
Legal names.
Zap happened.
Yeah. It was just, let's just call ourselves Zap.
Yeah. And
no thought, no real...
was there an Excel sheet or something of like
no
failed
preparation,
names?
No preparation. It was literally the first thing that came into our head, and we were like, let's just go with that, because I think we were...
From a lot of text to a punctuation mark.
Yeah. We just we felt, what is the exclamation marks? Like, what would be the word for the exclamation mark?
Yeah.
It would be like Zap.
Zap.
And I don't know, I guess we were kind of a little edgier then. We felt a little bit more on edge for some reason. So that's...
But then how did Zap not happen?
It got rejected by the label.
Yeah.
What? So your label's like, that ain't happening. Think of something
that's
else.
That's not it. They're like...
Chiver's like, yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. They just said, just use your last names.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you guys were like, sure.
Yeah.
Oh. There was no like, how dare you?
Yeah, we weren't at all married to the idea or the lore of Zap in any way.
Oh, fair enough. You're like, we thought of it, we suggested it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Use your last name. So cool.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
We're quite agreeable in that way when
That's
someone
really
comes to
nice.
us with an idea.
This goes to an idea. So there was, and I know this is, again, sort of taking back to, we're sort of like painting the timeline a little bit. So I know in like 2016, Nischay, you sent like a pile of emails out to a bunch of record companies. You're like, let something stick.
Yeah.
And something did.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, you described it pretty well. Literally just threw darts at a board. It was a friend of ours at another show that we were doing at the time in Calcutta. I think there were 2 people at the show or something.
Yeah.
And
You were upset?
no, that's the thing. I think we were quite like detached from it. We were just happy to be playing. And then she suggested, why don't you just send out, some music
Yeah.
to record labels abroad, like in the UK, or the record labels that you like. And that it never even occurred to me that that's something that can be done.
That you could do that.
Yeah,
man.
and I was like, right, yeah, I have an email address. I could do that.
I know how to write an email.
Yeah, I know how to
Dear
write an
sir or madam.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I literally went home that night, the same night after our show, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Wow.
And I looked up all the music that was on my iPhone at the time.
Yeah.
And I searched, what is the record label for Little Dragon? What is the record label
Are you
for Jose Gonzalez?
serious?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about record labels or
No, fair
the
enough.
music
and
industry.
Also, great choices for like your picks.
Literally only,
Dragon?
only the records that I was listening to. That's the ones that I felt, okay, maybe this is where my music
Yeah.
belongs.
Who was it? Little Dragon. It was like 480.
Peace Frog.
Oh, Peace Frog. Got it. I was really into like anyone by like anyone who was with 480.
Yeah, then
anyone who was
they
with like,
moved
yeah.
after that. So
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, it was Jose Gonzalez and Little Dragon were on Peace Frog.
Nice.
And a few other Canadian labels that I was a fan of.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
literally sent them a very simple email. Hello, my name, where I'm from. I love your record label and I would love to be on your record label. And an attached MP3. That's it. Low quality. And the only people that wrote back were Peace Frog. So that's...
Really?
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like this is also how it was at some point when you would send your cassette or CD to a record label. It's not like that much has like changed, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's still the same as it always
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So you know what? What's the second song you're going to play for me today?
You want to do Ocean? Yeah, we'll do Ocean.
Oh my God, we're going way back. This is like from your debut album, also called Ocean.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, what was Ocean actually about?
Well, lyrically, it was basically just about a relationship I was in at the time, and I was gonna go back to Boston. This was during like a
Yeah.
break that I wrote it, so I was like grappling with the idea of long distance, and that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Sad love song. But
There's an ocean between us.
yeah. But I think what was more interesting to me about the song at the time was I was just kind of figuring out how to use Logic, which is a software on a computer to make music.
Yeah.
And I was like very in an unrefined manner, just like figuring out how to sample my voice. And I made like those little samples which are in the original recording and was messing around with drum programming, etc., and sharing that with Jivraj for the first time.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the production of the song was a big draw for us to be excited about at that time.
Yeah, because you're kind of having a little fun with it, and
Yeah, yeah,
experimenting
yeah,
and that
yeah.
kind of thing. Awesome. So next song is Ocean.
Yeah.
Sail the ocean blue, still in love with you. I like to open my heart, like for us to go to the start. Yeah. There are things that I would never say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue. All we do is move. Away from memories that you like to lose. I like to change who we are. Why can't we be like movie stars? There are things that I would never say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue. There are things that I would never say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue. Oh, we said before, feelings left at the door. I'll come back for them later. Write it on a little piece of paper. All I'll ever be, swimming in the sea. Darling, why won't you be my sweet honeybee? Sail the ocean blue. Still in love with you. I like to change who we are. Why can't we be like movie stars? There are things that I would never say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue. There are things that I would never ever say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue. There are things, there are things. There are things that I would never say or do. There are things that make me wanna stick to you like glue.
So you guys just played Ocean, which is the debut album of Parekh Singh, not Zap. But honestly, I think that was a great sort of stamp of, what you guys are, and, the whole album. Because for me, at least, when you're listening to an album, there's always like a couple of ones that you really like. And this whole album was so good. My favorite song was Panda. I loved Panda. But everything on this album was so good. And I felt like it was like a really great representation of you guys. And one of the things that I wanted to, and this is something that I love doing, okay? I love a great band bio. Because it's equal parts like super cheesy or like really oddly descriptive. And then so I actually went to your band bio. I don't know if you guys remember what you actually put down in your band bio. But I'm going to read it out because I enjoyed it too much. You guys terrified? No.
No.
Good. So while Nischay has one foot in this world and the other in the realm of dreams, Jivraj is a student of math and logic and drawn to life's darker recesses. Friends, enemies, neighbors, and brothers, they wrestle, play chess and table tennis, eat, think, and roam the streets. But above all, they make music of whimsical, magical beauty. That's pretty good, guys. I'm thoroughly impressed. I think that may be one of the coolest band bios I've ever read out. How do you guys feel about it?
So we actually didn't write that.
No way! Smarter people wrote it? No.
I would believe so. So this was around the time that the record label came into the picture.
Got it. Okay.
And they hired a real PR person to write it, who was a good friend of ours, Miles Evans.
Oh.
He's from the UK. Yeah, he's a...
Clearly, he's a genius because this literally is one of the best band bios I've ever read out.
I think, yeah. It also happened quite conversationally. We just did a bunch of Skype calls with him, and he wrote it. We didn't give him any prompts as to what to write and what to describe and how to represent us. I think it was all just how he felt about us, watching us and meeting us.
Superb. Because I feel like I've not only got to know you, I've got to know you together and apart, and then what the music is that you make. And it's kind of like, that's what I'm saying. Should give please let Miles know that he gets a massive high five from me. I don't know if you guys still in touch with him, but yeah,
We'll email him.
Yeah. You and the emails, bro. It's real good. Now, of course, you have, your latest release, which is your third album, which is The Night is Clear. And this, again, it's, I always feel like with artists, you want to hear something different, but want to also feel like it's familiar, right? And I feel like you guys do that with every album, because you still have that, your style is still so strong, and yet at the same time, I feel like I'm exploring something new, because you don't want to hear the same stuff you've heard already. You want something different, but you don't want something that is not a Parekh Singh from Parekh Singh itself. So for me, this was, again, I wanted to kind of get from you, because sonically this was like a whole other place, because you guys had like woodwind and strings, so did you just want to bring more? And I think, Jivraj, you're playing tabla on like one of the songs as well.
Yep.
Right? Was it 7 Days? Yeah. Oh my, that's my favorite, Miracle in 7 Days. So what was The Night is Clear for you guys?
It was like a novel. That's the way I was thinking about it. Because I wanted to make an album, or, create something which felt like it needs to be kind of digested slowly, and something which is substantial, which kind of like feels heavy, like a thick book, like Dune or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You went there.
Yeah. And also something kind of like mythical, because I think Science City was quite light in a sense. It almost felt like candy sometimes. And Ocean as well, like you just pop it in and that's the flavor that you get.
Yeah.
But with The Night is Clear, I wanted something that was more layered, so that every time a listener goes back, hopefully he or she finds new things.
So when I first heard it, obviously I listen to albums just from beginning to end, because maybe that's very 90s or whatever, I don't know. But I love albums because you can just put them on and it's like like you said, it's like a novel, or it's like I hate to say it, journey. But with Sleepyhead, I don't know if I'm right or maybe I'm totally wrong, but this is how I heard it. But I felt like I heard a little like George Michael in there. I don't know if you guys feel it, but there was one point in the middle of the song where I was like, this sounds very George Michael. Because I don't know, maybe it was just me and my weird imagination.
Well, we're huge fans for sure.
Yeah,
and we've covered one of his songs together.
Yeah.
Which one?
Fast Love.
It's one of the good ones. I love it.
Yeah.
So for a lot of this stuff also, and in The Night is Clear, felt very personal. I felt like there were a lot of parts of it where, especially with 7 Days, where I think you are kind of talking about your parents. And is that also, because besides the storytelling, did you feel like there was a lot of sort of you were putting into it?
Yes, definitely. And I think also just due to the progression of time, I've just feel more able somehow to express more personal things in the format of a song, which maybe, and be more sort of deliberate and specific about it.
Yeah.
Which wasn't the case maybe with albums 1 and 2 as much. So yeah, with this one, I definitely wanted to say specific things, and obviously the whole relationship with my parents, and just also kind of it's tough as a songwriter, because you kind of have to mix in the amount of personal specificity as well as how to make it universal enough and make it relatable, I think. And I think just kind of finding that balance and the only way I found it is kind of also observing other people's relationships with their parents, like Jivraj or my wife or other friends that we have.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of everything.
I know Jiver, like, you know, your dad had passed away went in 2012, and then your mom, like, more recently in 2018. Yeah. So do you feel like when they were around, your relationship with music was one way, and do you feel like your relationship with music is a bit different now?
Yes, just because of the passage of time, but I still channel them a lot.
Yeah?
I think, yeah.
In what way?
I feel their presence in me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
get
bits
that.
and pieces of them come out through the way I behave
Yeah.
and perceive the world and react to things. So that's quite interesting to observe.
Yeah. Do you feel like some of that came out in The Night is Clear?
I guess a mix of trying to use humility in the creative process. I think that comes from my dad.
Oh, wow.
And
Your dad was a wicked bass player. Oh, so good. Sorry, go on.
and obviously like just enjoying grooves. That's another thing he did and
Yeah.
passed on to me. And enjoying the word from my mother and melody
Yeah.
and just like loving and respecting the song and doing whatever it takes to showcase the song.
And get the best out of that. Oh my God, that's such a nice way of putting it. And also, like, by the way, thank you for articulating that, because that also is really interesting to sort of understand. And I think, with The Night is Clear, there is, I think the other song, again, that I really felt for was Miracle. I couldn't put, like, with at least 7 days, I felt like with Miracle, I don't know what it was. Sometimes, like, there is something unbelievably inexplicable about music, and then your relationship with it too, because you're like, I'm really feeling this one. And this one, I think did you write this in the lockdown? So what was Miracle about then? So then I can pinpoint why I like this song so much.
I think out of all the songs, Miracle, lyrically at least, may have been the least cerebral for me as a lyricist. There was more of just a feeling. It was very much closer to how I may have written songs for albums 1 and 2, in a sense,
Nice.
where it was more intuitive. But at the same time, of course, I was talking about how, everyone may be feeling like they need a little extra something or something special during the lockdown. So it was very much informed about that, by that, yeah.
Like we all need a miracle.
Yeah, maybe, or
As
something,
cheesy as that
yeah,
sounds.
something's like, something's got to give type of situation.
So you did perform, the first song that you played is from The Night is Clear. So that was Nightingale.
Yeah.
What was Nightingale about?
I would say it's kind of like a companion to 100 Shadows on Science City, in a sense, because I think on each album, or at least so far, I've always wanted to write one song which feels like a short story, and it's an aside, almost like a side mission, side quest.
Yeah.
So that's how I thought about the Nightingale. I wanted to write a story which was kind of limited within itself and could, exist outside of the context of the rest of the album if required. In this case, it was about a monarch, essentially, who's just trying to come to grips with his or her destiny in his or her space. And it's kind of wide. Obviously, it's not. And I try to make it as visual and as specific as possible, but it's basically every word or every sentence is very literal in that sense. It's not too much imagery or allegory, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of know, even like with the fact that like you've added like woodwind and strings, like why sort of bring that into this? It was just like, I want to explore doing this? Or was it very much part of like when you were composing it, you're like, this feels right for this kind of instrument?
I think every sort of creative decision that the both of us take is an equal measure of a desire to like learn about a certain process,
Yeah.
plus just also, being a fan of what the result might sound like if we've heard it,
Of course.
on other albums or in other contexts. So I was particularly interested in learning how to write for string quartets and learning how to write parts for woodwind. And
Yeah.
I just took it up as an exercise and I started putting them into the demos. And I think they got to a point where I was happy with how they were sounding.
Was there something that maybe you wanted to compose but you couldn't? Like, it's always like it's a trial and error.
Yeah, there was a lot of trial and errors, and even up till like when they were actually recorded, they were recorded remotely by musicians in other parts of the world.
Yeah, there was. I think the woodwind was Ashley Charmack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the violin, viola,
yeah,
and cello was Luke.
Yeah.
Muller.
Yeah. So with Ashley, I guess I was a little bit more clear on how to write for strings, but not for woodwinds. So the first one I sent to her was the part for Je suis,
Yeah.
La Pomme Rouge. And she was like, okay, there are certain parts which work and certain parts which are just not playable on the instrument.
Really?
Because I had programmed them, on a software.
Yeah.
And then just from that, then I, started studying more and
Yeah.
researching and finding out what the registers are and also what sounds good in certain registers, all of that stuff. Basically just geeking out about it.
Wow,
a little
that's
bit.
so hardcore geeking out. Oh my gosh. Well, that's kind of cool though,
Yeah.
that you can kind of, because it isn't. Like I've had this experience with so many people who play slightly, aren't playing the usual drums, bass, guitar, And then when you have to compose for an instrument that you don't usually deal with on a regular basis, that you have to kind of rewire your brain a little bit and go, how do I do this? Did they help you in like maybe saying, why don't we try this? And then they
Yeah.
tried something and then you
Yeah,
went,
Ashley was very helpful in that
Yeah?
respect. Yeah, she sent alternatives and she explained, okay, this is why I did this and this is why I did that. I think she understood that I was doing this for the first time.
yeah.
And she was, sensing me a little bit. So that's
I
good.
got it. Also, I think the other aspect of this is that you guys, within what Parekh Singh is, there is a kind of like we were talking about, like a style and a persona. So you guys wearing like those multicolored suits is a thing, right? And so that also I think happened with your label, right? They initially were just doing the usual business time black and blues, but then they were the ones who were like, why don't you guys add some color? Is that right?
Yep.
So are these all like custom made suits that you guys wear?
Yes.
And from, I hope I'm right here, Barkat Ali and Bros?
Yes.
Yeah? That's so cool. So how did you guys even find these guys? Are they really popular in Calcutta?
I think, yeah, they're pretty well known in Cal.
They're like an old school tailor shop, All
Yeah.
our uncles and fathers and, people of repute got their suits.
Made by Barkat
made by
Ali and
Barkat
his
Ali.
bros?
Yeah.
And is it, like when you tell them that like, I would like this in red and mustard,
They love it.
they love it?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Do they ever suggest anything like, should we try this or should we try that?
Yes. They have.
Like what? What kind of stuff have they like said, let's try doing this and see?
I think they wanted us to go for a more dashing collar or lapel on one of the suits.
Yeah, they have a lot of stylistic choices that they make, which and even like on one of our blue suits, I think they suggested we keep one of the buttons red. Like
Yeah.
there are 3 buttons, right? So the top
On the
two,
cuff.
yeah, on the cuff. So keep the top button on the cuff, the opposing color. So on the red suit, it's a blue button on the cuff and the red.
Oh, they're having a great time.
They are.
Yeah.
I did like see that they actually established around the time where they were making like uniforms for Indian soldiers during the Second World War. So I was like, wow, they have like a real history in Calcutta, considering that their general popularity.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think that's like a very like stylistic choice for you guys. I found this like really, I don't know where this quote kind of came from, where it was like, we're just 2 guys making some sound in a flat in Baligunj. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Baligunj, yeah.
Baligunj
Yeah.
in Calcutta. Is that still how you guys feel?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When we're in Baligunj together.
Yeah, that's what we do. We make sounds in a flat.
It sounds lovely, darling. There was, and again, as we're like painting the timeline of your, the journey of Parekh Singh, In May 2019, you guys did cancel your tour. And it was a tour for Science City. And I think one of the things that was cited was Nischay, that you were going through some,
Yeah.
mental health
Yeah.
battles
Yeah.
and anxieties. But it wasn't just like, an assumption would be like, it's not just a stage fright thing. I think it was a whole bunch of other things that were
Yeah.
not happening,
Yeah.
right? I think
Yeah.
there was like a debacle in Bombay about the venue, and that you guys had to dip into your own sort of finances to. So what kind of happened at that time as you were organizing the tour?
Just a lack of preparation on our end
Yeah.
and support. I think we were trying to do everything ourselves.
Yeah, we didn't have a manager at the time.
Oh yeah, and then that's the thing with. I mean, I think this is the. I don't know if it's just the story of like independent artists in India in general, but you are your own social media manager. You are your own tour organizer. You are your own peon. You are your just like bloody everything. So I think that, I'm assuming, took a massive toll, especially when things weren't working out.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of made it also logistically unfeasible in some cases.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah?
in Bombay, for instance. And yeah, it was just, we weren't ready. And for what we were trying to achieve, and we had no idea of, what it means to play in an like even like a simple thing, like if we're playing in an auditorium, you need to have people, who prepares the venue beforehand, or have ushers to take people to their seats. Like we just thought we'll just roll up there and figure it out, basically.
And then it was
And,
rough. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we kind of realized that we wouldn't be able to deliver anything close to the experience that we want to our fans at that point.
Fair enough.
And yeah, and that plus, like you said, all of my personal, mental health problems or journeys were going on then. Yeah.
And I think, was that also, and I don't know if this was or not, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was that maybe a turning point for you in the sense of, where it isn't just a battling with your anxiety, that it's actually trying to manage it in some way and do something
100%. 100%. That's when I realized that I've got to do something about it, and not just white knuckle it. And realize that, this is a thing, and you're supposed to do other things to manage this thing, or and at least honor it and give it a name and identify it for what it is. There were none of these conversations prior to that within myself or even amongst us. We were always very like pragmatic about everything. Okay, got a show, let's go do the show, let's come back and go do another show. So I think it was a turning point for sure.
So, I mean, firstly, thank you for talking so openly about it, because a lot of people don't, it takes a lot to be able to be open, especially when you're going through a lot of this stuff that maybe is not like a physical thing where I have like broken my leg and then it's very visible.
Yeah.
But it's something that a lot of people don't fully comprehend, as you're not able to, it's not something that you can see, right? And when you can't see it, it's harder to understand.
Yeah.
I wanted to know from you, Jiver, when sort of Nischay opened up about a lot of this stuff, how did you sort of take it at the time?
I think it was quite educational for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be given access to somebody else's process, mentally, emotionally, dealing with things.
Yeah.
And I'd been quite casual about the way I dealt with things in my own life. And I think I definitely learned a lot from the way he was just speaking openly about what he was going through. I think that gave me the okay to do that in my own life as well, which I hadn't really done up to that point.
That's interesting.
So I think it was quite helpful.
Yeah. Is there a way now that, I mean, especially with this, your release with your third album, is there a way in which the two of you maybe communicate differently? Or are there things, because when you're saying, Nischay, that you're managing it, what are the kind of things that you are doing that are helping you?
So it's been a long process of kind of, because even in the world of mental health, quote unquote, there's so many theories and principles and philosophies and techniques.
Yeah.
You kind of have to like sift through things that work for you and
Yeah.
things that don't. So for me personally at the moment, simple things like just meditation daily is like, it's just non-negotiable for me. Like I'll miss a flight even if I have to, but I have to do like complete my meditation. Like that's the priority. And then there's just general physical health. At the time, back in 2016, I wasn't in very good shape. I hope I'm in better shape now overall.
Yes, you are.
and and just being present, and honoring each moment for what it is, essentially, are like the practical things that I do. And behind the scenes, I'm also similar to like the woodwinds and strings. I just geeked out and read a bunch of books on anxiety and
Yeah.
psychology, physiological psychology as well. Because the problem with me specifically was that I would have a lot of physical symptoms from my anxiety.
Oh.
So I kind of wanted to read about what the connection is and what are the things I can do to hack that connection.
Oh, that's so good.
Just kind of breaking it down into smaller parcels rather than it being a whole thing is my basic philosophy.
So that's so interesting because like I think a lot of people don't realize this because you end up treating the physical stuff over the stuff that's happening in your head. And things like when people are overwhelmed or stressed out, things like digestion suffers. There are things like weird pains like like your shoulders or your neck, like weird parts of you start to like ache, and then you're like, oh, this really hurts. Maybe I'm just sitting awkwardly, and then you realize that well, it's the fact that you're going through a lot of stress right now.
Yeah.
So like, and by the way, this is like really interesting because a lot of people also don't realize what are the things that are actually affecting them. And like even something like having a decent diet and going like, for a walk every day can really help you.
100%.
And yeah. So the other thing is that Nischay, you now live in Dubai.
Yeah.
And does that affect the hanging out in Ballygunge?
Sadly, it does.
Yeah.
But I've been in Calcutta now for the last couple of months because we've been doing all these shows.
Yeah.
So a lot of hanging out Ballygunge has occurred. And
I can't imagine Driver, but in my head, Driver's like, "You're back, yay!" Is that what's happening? No. Driver's like, "I'm not." Yeah,
Maybe
much.
not visibly.
internally.
up here.
Yeah. But Jivraj also visits Dubai quite often, at least a couple of times a year. And yeah, we do still, manage to have a lot of time together. So that's still fun.
Have you ever tried to convince Jivraj to move to Dubai?
Very lightly, I have. Just poked
Jivraj,
at it.
are you at all going to move out of Calcutta?
Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Like to Dubai or like somewhere completely different?
Probably somewhere completely different.
Oh, any places you have in mind?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to give away anything?
No.
God damn it. This is like, wow, it's like pulling blood from a stone, man.
A beautiful place in the mountains. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. I'll keep it that way. I hope it happens. What is that awful word? Manifest.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's manifest this stuff. So what's the last song you guys are going to play for me today?
We're going to do a song called King.
Ah, we did talk about King.
We did talk about it.
So awesome. So last song for today is King.
Dum da da dum dum dum. Da 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 dum dum dum. Tied my shoes and made my bed. I was taken by a cloud, premonition for the day before I figure it out. Walk the square and feed the birds. There's a feeling to this town. A talisman is in our reach. We can go and get it now. When the ocean is a desert and the sky is not a friend, all the elements in concert, like the universe within. Dum da da dum dum dum. Da 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 dum dum dum. Time is in an hourglass, just trickling in the sand. My body feels the ache of love, but my heart is in command. Follow 3s and 4s and 5s and count your way till 10. I'm afraid of numbers, 'cause they don't mean what they intend. When the planet is an island and the Milky Way is a sea, I revolve around the silence just to put myself to sleep. And it always falls to me to be seen. I just can't seem to breathe too deeply. The journey is a terminal, just a door to other doors. And I like to keep the best of me hidden at the source. All my friends are travelers, just wandering the hills. And I make the distance in my mind, I'm the king of being still. When the mountain is the answer and the forest is awake, I will be a necromancer and watch from a different place. When the mountain is the answer and the forest is awake, I will be a necromancer, watch from a different place. When the mountain is the answer and the forest is awake, I will be a necromancer, watch from a different place. Da 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 dum dum dum. Dum da da dum dum dum. Da 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 dum dum dum.
Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Made in India.